Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Cosmic Souls, the show where you have 4 hosts instead of 1. Why? Because it's more fun that way for us and for you, I think, as well. I'm Heather Thomas here with Cara with a K, Gilsonin. I get it right this time. Yeah. Amy Kilstrom and Cara Brusecker to discuss all things cosmic and awakening. So I really feel like this episode is less of an icebreaker and more of a just getting to it because, not that we could have edited anything about the first episode. I don't think we would have wanted to, but we don't have the technical skill sets to edit at all. So we are our authentic selves, unedited. And we never know where the show is going to take us. And we like it like that. But we did want to talk about today's main topic, or one of our topics, and we'll see where the trail will lead, is dreams. We put a pin in it last episode to really, we could unpack dreams for days and days and show after show. But I think for a lot of us in this specific year or time period, the last month or two, the start of 2022, dreams have slowly but surely, or maybe for a lot of people, they've always been epic, I don't know, have become more message like. They have had a lot of bearing on our day-to-day lives. And a lot of us feel like we are living 2 lives. We're living, well, really, what is a dream? Are we living a dream? Is life but a dream? Probably. And then where do we go in our dreams? It's the dream within the dream. So I'm going to just leave that there and hand it over to you ladies as to where you want to go next with my confusing intro to dreams.
I'll say this. It's timely that we're talking about dreams because we're at the very tail end of Pisces season, and Pisces literally is like the zodiac sign of dreams, of imagination, of spiritual realm. And we could think of the dreams as being like a whole nother spiritual realm. Like it's another part of, if we're thinking of that dream within a dream, like which one is real? I don't know. But Pisces, so we're at the end of the Pisces, the sun being in Pisces will enter Aries here shortly, I think this Sunday. And but not only is the sun in Pisces, we have multiple planets in Pisces right now. And a lot of them will continue in Pisces for a while. Some of them will jump out of Pisces, but we have Mercury, I'm looking at my app here, Jupiter, Neptune, and the sun in Pisces right now. And so with all of that Piscean energy, dreams, especially in the past like 3 weeks that we've been in Pisces, could have been really ramped up. So if you're feeling like your dreams are all over the map, or if they're really vivid, or if you just really feel like you're dreaming more than you have like in a long time, that there could be an explanation for that. But I know my dreams have been really insane. And we have our dream master here, I would say.
Dream weaver.
Amy's our dream weaver here, who is really, you're the dream expert.
Oh no, I'm a dream experiencer, I would say.
Ooh.
I ever since I was little, I've dreamt big and detailed, and I'd wake up in the morning, I'd walk out, my dad would be sitting at the kitchen table, I'd sit down and tell him my dream in detail every morning, and he would tell me his dreams in detail. And this is just something I grew up with, and I always found it weird when people would say, "You dream? You remember your dreams?" I'm like, "You don't?" I've always dreamt. It concerns me more when I don't dream. But lately, as you ladies know, because I wake up and literally message you from my bed telling you, "You're not going to believe this one." I don't know. What have I not done in my dreams? Like, I think I've always been touching the spirit world in my dreams. I've been communicated with. It's just now that I'm here and I've arrived at this place, I'm starting to pay attention to them and I'm starting to listen and I'm getting more and more messages, getting experiences. I don't know what part of my dreams you want to talk about, but I've been between the 5D and the 3D, seen them both. I've done the dream where I wake up in my dream and then explain to my father about my dream, only then to wake up again. So I really don't know what's a dream anymore. I can fly at different heights. I've lost altitude. I've gotten better. It's training. I'm training in my dreams, and I ride on spaceships. All kinds of stuff.
Maybe.
What's that?
To just pause there for a second on the flying thing. I think that when you told me about that, I thought that was so neat, because it's not like I think I can think of things that I've dreamt several times, so there's like a pattern there, but it sounded like for you, like it's been kind of this lifelong, like learning to fly in your dream. And so you're like literally practicing a skill in your dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. It's a feeling that I get in my stomach. And it started when I was a little girl in my parents' backyard. And I have this, I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, but it scared the shit out of me as a kid. And when they would like kidnap kids, in my dream, this Chitty Chitty Bang Bang guy and a monster would come to the house, and the parents would all gather there and they would play cards, and the kids would have to hide so that we wouldn't get kidnapped. And I would eventually be running away and run through my backyard, and I knew I just had to make it over the fence, and I would get this feeling in my stomach and I would lift off, but then I would lose altitude, so I have to run and hide somewhere else. But the goal was always to just fly over the fence and get away. And eventually, like it was a couple of years later, like eventually I made it over the fence. And when I got over the fence, I was like, oh my gosh, like their hands were just barely touching me. And then as years have gone on, I'll get a little more altitude, a little more distance. The feeling feels different in my stomach. And now I feel like Peter Pan. Like I'm just like,
wow.
I don't have to be flying like Superman. I can be upright and just be cruising along. But it's a feeling that I channel.
So what do you think the difference is from what you're doing in your dreams to astral traveling? Or do you think that's what you're doing? Because what is astral traveling? You know what I mean?
Gosh, that is a good question. So when I started astral traveling, it was actually during meditation. So it wasn't even in a dream. But then last night's dream, as I think I mentioned to you guys, I went from being able to fly to zooming. Like when I astral travel, I zoom. I'm at a really fast speed, but I can see things. I process things very quickly as I pass. It's not like in my dreams where I fly kind of slow, not slow, but compared to astral travel, I'm much faster when I astral travel.
So do you actually feel like you've left your body behind? Like, you're out of your body when you're astral traveling?
When I astral travel and I meditate, I completely leave my body. And I only know that because my alarm went off on my phone while I was meditating, and I was late for my chiropractor appointment. And it went off. I had 10 minutes to get there. And I was like, oh, and it snapped me out. I was astral traveling. I was in it. And when I heard the beep like that, I popped up and I felt groggy. I felt heavy. And I felt like I was like walking like this. Like I just felt like drugged. And I quickly closed my eyes and I had to go back and retrieve my body and like dial it back down, ground myself back into my 3D body. And it didn't take long to get there. And then I grabbed my stuff and ran out the door and went off to my appointment. So astral traveling, I do leave my body.
Cara, C Money Cara, or KKK, have y'all astral traveled?
Not to my knowledge. See, my dream experience is quite different from Amy's. I don't actually usually very often remember my dreams, although that's been definitely changing, I'd say, in the last couple of months. But like I sleep really solid and I don't remember a lot, but I am curious as to what I'm actually doing in my, in my sleep state. Something else that I think is interesting that we've talked about is like the different settings. Like, so I almost always dream about different houses or different apartments, which I never even really thought about till we all started talking about that, how like, oh yeah, I kind of do that too. But the other thing is the car thing for me. And I almost wonder if that's my mind's interpretation of when I'm astral traveling. Like I don't have a conscious awareness that that's what I'm doing, but I do have a lot of dreams where I'm in a car and I'm going very fast and I can't see where I'm going and I can't get on the brake and I can't like do anything about it. I'm just being taken somewhere and it's like I have to just trust that, and I always get where I need to go, but it's this like fear of like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna brake if I need to? How am I not hitting anyone? How am I not crashing into anything? But I always get there, like I never crash. So I don't know, I just kind of wonder, again, like I feel like for me, there's a deep layer of like a veil almost. So it's like I kind of have to interpret what I'm experiencing and what that might actually be as far as like work I might be doing in my dream state or something like that. Because I think many of us are doing work, whether we're conscious of it or not. And I think Amy just has this incredible ability to really be aware of what she's doing. And I just, again, I find it so fascinating that, because I think you also said, Amy, too, that you were training other people to fly. So it's almost like you're like doing you're preparing people for the fifth dimension or something in your
Yeah.
dream. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a feeling that has now grown from just the center of my stomach, this feeling that I have to get to hold altitude and to navigate, to spreading it through arms and legs, to, as I mentioned, one of my dreams where we had to walk out of a tall skyscraper building out the window and walk parallel to the ground without falling. But if you lost any ounce of that vibration that was going through from your stomach to your arms or your legs, you fell, and you felt the 3D fall, like not physically, but the fear of it. So, and then you would just land on the ground and be like, oh, I gotta go do round 2. And you had to do it until you pass. So there's these new elements now of maybe I'm just slow. Like I'm a lot older. I've been flying for a while. I'm just mastering these things now. I don't know.
Well,
It is interesting what you said, Cara. Well, I don't know. We're tapping into each other's dreams. So maybe one night we'll get a flying lesson in.
Yeah.
Well, so I have flown in my dreams before, but it's few and far between. And actually it used to happen a lot more when I was a kid. I don't know what that says about me, like maybe getting older, and who knows, but I do know that feeling. And for me, it's been like a lucid dream where you realize you're dreaming. And so then once you realize that you're dreaming, then I'm like, oh, I can do whatever I want. The world is my oyster, which is such a metaphor for like life and kind of what's happening right now, right? But like once I realize, oh, I'm dreaming, then I'm like, I start jumping really high, kind of like who's that character in Winnie the Pooh? Tigger, just like
Tigger.
Bouncing. And then I realized, oh, once I'm like levitated, then I can fly, which is really interesting. I find this interesting too, because I always have to bring it back to astrology, is that Amy, you and I are the air signs.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we are naturally like, the air element is our element. And then we have Heather, who's fire, bringing the heat. And we have Cara, who's Taurus, who's more grounded. And I think that's also why our energies work, though, because, well, we do need a water sign in here. But,
hey, we need a fifth host if anybody's interested.
Oh, we do.
But you have to be a water sign.
Yeah. Interview happening next week.
There's a few human design gates that we need.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. That's another interesting topic, though, the human design, which is so fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And my apologies for the dinging. My husband and I all of our Apple devices are connected to each other's accounts, and neither one of us wants to take the time to disconnect our accounts from each other's. And it's times like this. I mean, I've literally had the microphone on mute, and then the one time I get on again, it starts dinging. So apologies.
All good.
Anyway, it's on my list, my long list of technical things I need to figure out. Speaking of 3D versus 5D, like we go from flying to like trying to do this tech stuff. So, oh man, I get more out of my meditations, so it's interesting to me. So I think dreams, there's something about the loss of control for me. And it's more of like, that's maybe more of a, maybe a negative slant to it, but a surrendering aspect to it. And there's so much connected with the surrendering state of being able to tap into higher frequencies. I don't know. And in my meditations though, to me, it's tapping into the Akashic records as well. They're one and the same to me. There's another field I enter into, but I feel more in control. Whereas dreams, like I've told y'all, like I've had some pretty impactful, powerful dreams, not like you, Amy, but, over, the expanse that I've been with all of you and been able to share my dreams. But I'm sort of like KK Cara. For the most part, mine are pretty, I think, ho-hum, but in my meditations is where I tend to get the visions and I think communicate with higher dimensional beings, and I feel more in control, whereas these dreams I've been having recently, I've had several naked dreams, and I'm feeling completely out of control. Like, why did I go outside without my clothes on? Those kinds of dreams. I have had a recurring dream. That's another thing maybe we can all unpack. Recurring dreams of a tornado either coming or it's already happened, or we're in it. And I've had that recurring dream since I was a child. But I also think dreams relate a lot to our past lives, and we could probably, unpack that for days and days as well. But past lives definitely get unpacked, and that's my word of the day, unpacked, apparently. Like suitcases, got to unpack suitcases in our minds. But past lives for me recently have been, I think, a big theme of my dreams and being able to process some of them. And who knows if that's what a lot of our dreams are. Maybe past lives, maybe parallel lives, maybe different timelines that we didn't choose that are different than the timeline we're on now.
I think there's a lot of transmuting also that's happening in our dreams based on those past lives. I think this is the life that we're here for now. And that's why there's so much work that's happening in our dreams. Are you transmuting past lives? Are you doing it on behalf of the collective? Are you training for the future? I think there's just so much work. There's never just one job, but it's fascinating.
Yeah. And past lives is a huge bucket threshold. I remember when I was dipping my toes into even believing in past lives, like the idea of it, and it felt sort of taboo. And I don't know if it's because I grew up in the Christian faith and went to Catholic school, and I was heavily churched, and I'm grateful for a lot of it, but definitely will wire you to a certain type of programming where you feel like God's going to throw down a lightning bolt for believing anything other than what's in the Bible. But that's, if anyone listening, it's a huge threshold that now I take for granted. I'm like, oh yeah, we have past lives. Of course we do. But I think this is the incarnation where we get to not only believe in past lives, but be able to utilize the wisdom and all that they've given us and continue to give us in this lifetime, and to transmute, like you said, Amy, and to not repeat some of the energetic karmic patterns, like really name it. Like, what is it that we're repeating? What story from these past lives do we keep repeating so that we can acknowledge it, feel it, heal it, whatever it is that we need to do with it so we can break out of these story cycles?
I think that's fascinating.
She froze.
Damn it,
Frozen
again.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're frozen again.
Darn it.
There you are. You're back.
Hi. Okay.
Hi, from
I'm just
South
gonna journey
Carolina.
inside. So I had my past life regression therapy session done. As you guys know, am I frozen? No, I'm not frozen.
No, you're good.
Okay. And in my past life, I was the life that I journeyed to was a Native American woman. And the common theme that was happening there, I was young, but the theme that was happening there was I broke away from the tribe because I knew there was a different way. And it's just something I kept saying over and over. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like when I came to, I didn't understand. But when I broke away, one of the things I didn't enjoy doing, I was a very good huntress, but I didn't enjoy killing animals. So where my place was that I was living off the land, plants, flowers. I don't know if I was even fishing. I never saw myself fishing. But I think a recurring theme for me, I know from Akashic readings, I was also a healer in many lives. And I've seen that in my meditations and in my breathwork sessions. So for me, it sounds like there was always a struggle with the theme of there is another way. There's another way to live. There's another way to do things. There is another way, but it's going to go against the norm. And there were times that I was alive when it was not safe to do so. Or I was ostracized. I had to leave a tribe to go practice what I wanted to do. And now here I am in this world. All I want to do is help. That's all I've done with all my career hats I've ever done. I've always tried to help and heal people. And now I recognize the healer that I am. And we start with nutrition, but obviously, as you guys know, it is growing. But that's why I think the past life things, especially as it comes out in dreams, it's really telling. It's very interesting to look at, journal, note, and try to draw all these connections.
Yeah.
I got it.
I think I've always been like past lives. It's an interesting one because, it is a little bit of a taboo thing when I do astrology readings with people. One of the things I look at are the lunar nodes in people's charts, which are actually really, the lunar nodes right now are in Taurus and Scorpio, and they'll be there until I think 2023. But one of the things that I learned, and it's kind of like a take it or leave it, but when I do somebody's chart, I look at the North Node as being like what you're coming into this life to accomplish, and then the South Node being what you've already accomplished in past lives. Like you're coming in to this lifetime with already having these skills, or you've already done that. This is not something you're working on in this life. And so, but I always preface it with people because it is a touchy subject. I'm like, well, if you believe in past lives, then, or you could just be like, this is something in this life that you don't really have to worry about. Like, this is something you're heading towards, but it's interesting to see what, how people like react to that or resonate with that. And also for me, I've always felt, even from like a childhood on, like that feeling of deja vu, like, where does that come from? And so to me, it made sense. It was like a past life or a parallel life experience, because why all of a sudden do you feel like, this is so familiar, but I can't figure out why? I don't know.
I think it's our higher self dropping Easter eggs.
Yes.
I think that's what the number sequences are a lot of times too, is, we're in the present, but in as soon as we breathe out a moment, it's already in the past. I think our higher self is way out there, but I mean, I think time travel is for real too. I mean, who's to say they don't just keep coming back, us, and keep leaving us these clues.
I like that Easter egg theory. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here's a little Easter egg surprise for you.
It's just confirmation, like, oh, I've been here before. I've seen this before. This is so familiar to me. I've said these words before. I've been with this person before in this moment, standing in the kitchen. And it just is sort of a reassurance that you're on the right path. And it's a lot of the deja vu moments aren't really profound moments. They're just everyday moments. But whatever it is, I think you're in sync with the highest timeline or the highest version of yourself. I think that's my theory anyway.
Yeah, I like that.
I like what you said, Heather, though, the time travel thing. what was kind of a eye opener, like mind blowing moment for me was when I did my Akashic reading with you, and you were telling me about two lives, and you were describing like these two different eras, but I'm like, aren't those, or no, two different events. I'm like, didn't those things happen around the same time? Like, how could I have a life in both? And it was like, I didn't even think you had to answer me. I was like, in my head, it just like went like, and I was like, oh, because you can go back as many times as you want and live. Like I could have lived 10 lives at the same time period, you know, and it was just like a different, not even a different version of me. I don't know if there are different aspects of us or the same aspect. I don't know, but like we can go back and have a different experience of the same time period, because essentially if you zoom way out, it's all happening now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to wrap our brains around. And Amy Belair, in one of her readings for me, said that I have a parallel Pleiadian life. And that could be one of my guides that she sees. So I think we could, have higher dimensional lives that we're living right now, maybe even on different planets. I mean,
I
if
was told the same thing.
we all really want to go there, that's where we're going to go. Yeah.
I was told I'm Arcturian and from the planet Allura. And I came here with one of my best friends, Heidi, who you guys know, that we came here together, both from Allura, both Arcturian and Pleiadian. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's
another bell.
Yeah. The closest I feel like I got to like being to really seeing some past life stuff was in that breathwork session, which I think we have all done with.
With Cara.
Kari. We got to shout out to Kari.
In fact, I texted with her today and asked if she ever wanted to be on the podcast.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm doing breathwork with her tomorrow.
Yeah. So, but when I did this breathwork session, and for any of you who don't know what breathwork is, it's really just that you are in a meditative breathing session for, I think it was 90 minutes. And all you're doing, and she helps guide you through the meditation, but all you're doing is using breath to really like figure some stuff out for yourself. And I just saw like what I saw in my session was like, it was almost like I could see in a physical form layers and layers of lives like coming off. And it was so cool. It was such a like psychedelic experience, and so cool that I could witness that just with like breathing and oxygen. And but I really could like tap into like this theory that like our souls are just layers upon layers of different experiences, and that could be all the lifetimes we've lived.
Yeah. So I had the similar experience too. It's powerful. I think you ladies did as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, huge shout out again to Kari. She's sort of like a shaman too. So her energy is a way shower type energy, whereas she holds the frequency, whether she realizes it or not. Oh, it's 3:33.
Yeah.
Ding ding.
I know. Exactly at 3:33. I mean, if we're not, needing more reminders of all the synchronizations that this is but a dream, all of this. But yeah, it's super chill. And so I wasn't really expecting all that I did get, but at the same time I was expecting. So what it does is you set an intention. And I don't know what intentions. I think y'all did share your intentions. And so okay, I mean, guess one of my intentions is it involves alien beings and extraterrestrials. I'm like, all right, this is the day I get to meet them or meet with them. But what I received though, so my intention ended up being an energetic vibrational match, which I think more and more that's, of course, like that's everything, period. But I'm really getting a flashback of a lot of just real quick shots of different lives. And some of them I was the observer looking at the life, and some of them I was in the body. And they weren't to me like these profound lives. They were pretty simple. So you thought, what could they else could they be? You know, even after all the Akashic readings I've done, sometimes I'll wonder, I mean, could it just be me making this stuff up in my imagination? I mean, maybe, but wow, that's a very active imagination, very detailed. So really it's just about trust and surrender again to the information and the visions and the different scenes that are coming through, or words. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be scenes, but
Well,
usually
it's
it's
kind of like-
pictures for me.
It's kind of like what even is imagination? Like I think a very
True.
a very 3D way of thinking it is like, oh, it's just these made up stories in your head. Well, where do those stories come from? You know,
Exactly.
like they're in there for a reason. And
Mhm.
that even goes back into like the dreams, the
Mm-hmm.
meditations, this is very Piscean, what we're all talking about. It's like,
Piscean, you've said it twice. You've
Yeah,
used
it's
the
like
word Piscean in a
Yeah.
sentence twice. I just want everyone to do that.
so it's like, what is imagination? There's something more to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm
There is.
seeing Willy Wonka and he's going down the river.
Oh yeah, that
Thinking
river
about
scene.
imagination.
It
Are you
always-
all picturing
that
it
river
with me?
scene.
That was talk about another scary scene for kids.
I
Like
know, there's-
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and the Willy Wonka scene. And
Ugh.
he's like,
That Chitty Chitty Bang Bang nightmare came back for years. I mean, I was even an adult still having that dream going, why am I back here? Like,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
it's
You
a
know
little
what
silly.
nightmare I used to have, and was again based on a movie. So my parents were watching the original Terminator in our den.
Oh.
And of course, I think I was 7 or 8 years old. I can't remember. And of course, I wouldn't have been allowed to watch that. So there was a crack in the door where you could sit and see the TV. And so I sat there long enough and watched this thing. And so for months afterward, I thought the Terminator robot with the red eyes was outside my bedroom window, was hunting me down.
Right.
Speaking of past lives, who knows? You know, maybe we did live through a post-apocalyptic Terminator scene.
Maybe.
All I know is I want all you ladies with me if it happens.
Amen.
Especially Amy K. Yeah, because are you trained in like you're a
Yeah, what's that?
jiu-jitsu black belt karate woman?
What's it called? Cron something?
Oh, so
Krav
I have
Maga.
a black belt in Taekwondo. I was trained in Krav Maga and
Krav Maga.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu,
Oh my god.
and yeah, as a firefighter EMT,
I love
Krav
it.
Maga. It's Israeli street fighting. It's just like real
Really
practical,
street
like
fighting.
yeah,
I mean,
like
all it is.
you know, that's all it is.
You find
Don't try.
I feel like we find a new thing about you every day that's just like nothing shocks me anymore.
Oh my god!
Like,
But
yeah,
you know, my favorite show growing up and still today is I will watch every version of Cinderella. So it's like these personalities of mine just don't match up. I
You're
don't
just
really
living it
understand
all.
myself. Yeah, it's whatever.
That's why
I
you're
just
such
have
a
fun.
badass in your dreams. You know,
My dreams are like
Like,
ridiculous.
follow me.
Yeah.
You'll get us through this war. Yeah.
You're falling in the hole in the street. Your children are in trouble. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's a lot of human design coming out in my dreams. So yeah. I don't know why I raised my hand there. My computer's pretty savvy. If I so much as raise my hand up.
Yeah, and then you switch places on my grid. Did that happen?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Well, you know, all these
Alien encounters.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of alien encounters, we've had aliens meet us in our dreams. Heather, you've had your alien meet you in your meditation.
Yeah. So mostly my meditations, I I did have, like I've described, that waking dream. To me, that was my one and only extraterrestrial contact that I can remember. I do think it's a strong possibility as a child I would be taken into ships, either my astral body or maybe my physical body, because I would sleepwalk a lot and I would wake up in different parts of my house. And there were a few times where I was trying to get in and out of the window in my bedroom. So to me, I don't know. I think I had a lot more going on when I was a child. But for me, it's been benevolent. They haven't been nefarious in any way. But I think, again, that surrendering state as a child, and not that I remember anything, but I think, I don't know. I don't know if even
We have less conditioning, as children. So you're more open to it. And as adults, we're so much more conditioned and closed off. And now we're all trying to get to this place of peeling back the layers to be open and receive and explore. I mean,
yes,
it's like going back to a childlike state. I mean, we have to, that's what we're doing. I think a lot of the stuff we're doing now is all the processing and like peeling back the layers, is like getting back to that, because a child is so open and pure and innocent, there's that innocence, and like we want to get back there.
We probably came into this life knowing how to do a lot of these things too that we've forgotten.
I mean, think about how amazing newborns are. You can put them in a swimming pool and they can swim, right? And they don't suck water up their nose. Like, they just kind of know what to do. I mean, it always baffled me.
Right.
Just baffles me. Like, it's amazing. It's too bad we can't protect that little innocence a little more, so that as they become adults, they can just be super open. But I don't know. This is the 3D journey. This is the human journey.
It is.
Yep.
It is. And we keep coming back for more.
Yeah.
Like, oh, put me back in.
And there are days when
go of it.
I feel like a theme, and especially, with the four of us, is like when we are up against challenges, or when, at any one time we're having a hard time, we always remember, and we always reassure each other. We're like, well, we chose this, our soul chose this. So a lot of people don't like to hear that. They're like, why would I ever choose this? But there's something reassuring about it to myself.
There is. Yeah.
Makes me feel better. I'm like, there's meaning in this. Like, this isn't just like useless suffering or useless pain. Like, there's some meaning behind this. And then it helps you like process it and get through it easier.
Yeah. I find that so true. I was just talking to my brother, who you guys know, I just adore him. And he just went through something really, really tough. And he was just really caught up on how hard this was, and everything's messed up. And before this event arose, because he knew he had to take a tough step, right? And a lot of us were talking to him about what to do, and he did the right thing, if you will. And negative consequences came at him. And I kept telling him, he's like, I know it's going to happen. I said, there's going to be something more coming out of this. It's one thing to run away, but there's going to be something more. So just hold tight. And something very beautiful did come out of it. And I'm not going to divulge his whole story, but something beautiful did come out of it. And I was able to extract that out of his like woes. And when I did, I'm not giving myself the kudos. I'm just like, I pulled it out and I put it in front of him. I'm like, what do you think of this? This is what happened. This is what transpired. He's like, oh my gosh. So that was like a perfect example of, there are things that happen to us. And when you get reminded you came for this, it's like, there's a lesson there. So if you can just dig a little deep, or have a friend help you like tease it apart, you might be able to find your answer or your reason a little quicker, kind of ease the pain.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why we all have each other, That's why your brother has you, Amy, because it's easier for, I talk about like a lot of times for me, I need to talk to somebody to like receive information and channel. Like that's usually where I get some of my biggest aha epiphany, like download moments, is by talking with you ladies or other people, you know, even, you know, just talking to doing somebody's astrology reading. All of a sudden I'm like, whoa, because I need that interaction. So we need each other to like find the lessons. Because if we're all just in our own head, how are we going to pick it apart? You know, it's just swirling in our heads.
Well, and think about how far, and this is again, not to be, you know, tooting our horns again, but how far we've come and how far you have to come to be able to ask, okay, what is this teaching me? What is the lesson to be learned here? And not to say I don't sometimes have the response to that being, well, you know, fuck you lesson. I don't want to learn this lesson. Not today lesson. But to be able to say, you know, there's a lesson here and I need to look at it from that vantage point. That's pretty amazing. To me, that's getting into the 5D frequency.
Totally.
And then you don't sink down for as long, maybe, or get stuck.
Correct.
In that low frequency pattern. Victimhood is a huge low frequency stuck pattern that I know I've been in. We can all get in, and it's very easy to slip into that victimhood. And that's the one where you can go completely unconscious for a few days.
Yeah.
And then you come up for air like, oh, I've been in this victimhood state, and you know, I've fallen asleep again.
Yeah, it's been beautiful to witness everybody to go through like our tough things and watch us come through relatively quickly. And we've all gone through some really tough stuff in this group, and I attribute that to like not staying in that victimhood anymore. And it's because we are so much more present in that 5D awareness. What were you going to say, C-Money?
Oh, I was going to say, just like the victimhood, and trust me, like we all are, you know, we all go, we have to, it's a human instinct to go there, but it's like, how long do you stay there? But and on that note, it's like, I was just listening to a podcast, and these women were talking about having compassion, and the difference between having compassion or feeling like pitying somebody. You know, like if you pity somebody, you're taking the control away from them that they can fix it, because we can all fix it. It's like having the compassion, but then being like, and you can change this, you know? And it's like the same thing of like victimhood. Like you can be in it for a while and feel those feelings, but ultimately you have to change it. You have to want to get yourself out. So it's like this, like, kind of, even if you look at the grand scheme of like the world, like right now, and how heavy and dense, you know, some of this 3D stuff is. And it's easy for us to get into that, like, oh my God, I feel so horrible for these people that this is happening to. But there's a difference between the compassion of like, I feel so horrible, but I truly believe that there's a lesson out of this, and that these people have the ability to figure out what that lesson is and to get themselves out of it. And I know that sounds, it feels kind of bad saying it, because it's not like, instead of pitying and being like, oh my gosh, this is horrible, like this is so horrible, and like, what are they going to do? Like not giving them any power to get out of it, if that makes sense. I don't know. It sounds kind of, these are hard topics because it sounds bad, because it's like, I am an empath and I'm compassionate, and I like, but when you stay in that frequency of pitying and like everything's horrible and sad, then what is that like? We need the frequency to like rise up. We have to be the ones to like level up so it doesn't stay there.
Yeah,
I talked about that in my that live I did in my group, and it's really the difference between seeing yourself as the victim and that victim or not victim mentality. It's really the difference between seeing yourself as one with God and your empowered self, your like full expression of yourself, versus being separate and being a victim and being. And I think that that's what the shifting into the 5D is. It's separating from victim mentality or that separation. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I can't have what I want. I can't do this. And versus like seeing yourself as one with the whole creation. At least that's how I see it. And there could be different ways of looking at that. But for me, it's like a oneness with all, a oneness with creation, because then it's not either me against you or them against them either, because we're literally all like reflections of each other and aspects of each other. And when we can zoom out and see it from that bigger perspective and recognize that, you know, if you've ever seen that meme where it's like the finger kicking the person off, and you're like, this is me, and the finger's me, and there's a hand underneath catching you, and that's me. Or you can see that God, that's God, this is God, or this is the universe. You know, it's all, we're all, the ideas, we're all one. It's all the same. So that, but what kind of came through when I was sharing that video is really this idea of like, because they'll say like, you know, do you choose fear or love? Another way of seeing that is, do I choose oneness or separation? Do I choose connection or believing that I'm a victim and separate from all that is, and that so that bad things can happen to me? And I hear what you're saying too, Cara. Like, it sounds so cold when we try to apply that to something that is catastrophic that's happening in the world. And you know, I guess, because I'll even say sometimes too, like, well, it's all an illusion, but that sounds really horrible too. Because it's like, well, it's not an illusion of those people that are going through it. And there are people that are going through things, but kind of what you're saying with that, raising the frequency, it's that when we see it from this holistic perspective of like, I am you and you are me, and we are all one, and we are all in this together. And what do I need to do to help you? I need to help me. I need to raise my frequency. I need to give myself what I need so that I can be my best self, so that I can turn around and love my family and, you know, do what I need to do. And that is like, because if you think of everything as an illusion, it's basically a reflection of what's vibrating within us as a collective. I can't do anything about what you're vibrating or they're vibrating over there, but I can do my own work and vibrate at my highest. And that's all I can really do. So it's really just taking your power back and giving everyone else their power back, taking our energy tentacles out of everybody else's business and plugging it back into ourselves to lift ourselves up to be the strongest that we can be. And that is reflected out into the collective and out into the rest of the world slowly at a snail's pace. Right? But
ladies and gentlemen, that is what we would call a mic drop.
Yes.
I would say perfectly said, Cara. You basically just like said what I wanted to say in an amazing way.
I just had this, I've been coughing over here and I have to apologize because I muted myself. I'm getting over a cold, but it's still going to come out on the podcast. So I just had to take care of that so I could input my wisdom.
Yeah, you could drop all of that on us. That's amazing. That's really amazing. Yeah. Okay, so I have my little life manual, Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh, and I'm almost done with it. It's only taken me a few months, but there's so much goodness, and it's a little book. I read a little bit every morning, but I wanted to read this. Okay, here it is. In fact, seek to see no one and nothing as the enemy or even the problem. Cultivate the technique of seeing all problems as opportunities to be and decide who you really are. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because who are we, in the book that goes into it way more, without relationships to one another? I mean, relationships, even people we don't even know halfway across the world that are suffering. Who are we without the contrast of that? Or our families, our friends, people that we do know, and we choose to interact with their souls on a day-to-day basis. Like, who are we without the relationships? And relationships are there to teach us who we really are. That's not to say it's all that they're there to do, but that is all that they're there to do, to teach us constantly in every moment. So yeah, what you're saying, KK Cara, is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Well, I think if we can, and sometimes we can't, and that's okay. We just have to honor where we're at in our journey. But if we can see the other person as just another aspect of us, some sort of reflection from us, and potentially there to teach us something, and not worry about having to figure out exactly what that is in our brain, because our brain and ego won't agree. But when we kind of take that pressure away, can we just observe? Can we just, try to absorb the lesson or to be present for the lesson? And I think it just helps to kind of ease some of that resistance to seeing it in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really where it all started for me but I knew there was more. I knew there was more to all of this, was becoming the observer. Michael Singer, An Untethered Soul, Deepak, Eckhart Tolle, there's a list of authors, right, that all talk about this, and even ancient works of literature. I'm going to totally butcher it if I even try to say it. Anyway, they all talk about this being the observer, like you are not your thoughts. So who are you? Who is the I am? And then, you get to go on this journey of trying to discover who is the observer, who is the I am. But then it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper until finally you're here on a podcast talking about aliens and astral traveling. And here we are. And guess what? I guess we get to go even deeper than this. Who knows? Maybe we'll actually be interviewing a higher dimensional being one of these days on the podcast.
You could.
That'd be
amazing. I'm going to do my breath work.
There is a full moon happening. I'm manifesting that.
Full moon is actually, full moon in Virgo this Friday. Yeah. And so being, full moon in Virgo, it's an earth sign. It's the sign of like taking care of yourself, health. It's a sign of like organization and structure. And so I see it as like coming from this Piscean, like dreamy, imaginative stage. This is
Piscean.
Piscean again.
Third time.
Fifth time.
Fourth time. I don't know.
It's like, this is I love like Virgo energy because it's like brings us back to like truly nurturing ourselves and like, coming back to earth after we've been in the water for a little bit. Yeah. And then we have 2 days after that, the sun is going to enter Aries, and it's a spring equinox on the very same day. So this is a real rebirth. This is like a full, like we are entering a new phase.
We need it. We need energy shifting. Although I prefer whatever this energy is right now to January's energy.
That was bad.
That was
terrible.
Like, happy 2022. Hey, kids.
Yeah. It's been really intense. And, I think it goes back to like, when we're feeling that heaviness, it's okay to feel it. It's okay to sit in it. But how long do you want to sit there? And what is that really going to do for the collective to sit there? It's not going to help anybody. It's,
I don't care about the collective, Cara. I care about me.
That's
caring about me, according to Cara, is this caring about the collective? I'm just
kidding.
Like
Cara said to you, how long do you want to sit there?
Which I'm really talking to myself when I'm talking to all of you, which is probably why I enjoy our time together so much.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, do we have any last things to say for this fun second episode of us?
I like leaving it on that note because that came through in a Reiki message I did too, with the Virgo moon and the taking care of you. That message came through really, really strong. And that's part of like what I was saying. It's like when we really put our energy back into ourselves. And it's almost like I can't even articulate this part well enough, but it was something about not so much the act of what you do for yourself, but it's just the love that you give yourself, like the act of taking your energy from out there and putting it in here. And it was even like expectations, what do the people think, all of the programming. And it was like, how much of that can we untangle and detach from and do whatever we need to do to come in and really be there for ourselves? Because we're going through a lot right now. I mean, the energies have been intense for a while, but like, I feel like really intense since this year, like you said, Heather, in January. So I just feel like we need, and especially our bodies, I've been feeling that really strongly, just need as much support as we can give it. But there's a special piece about, can we give ourselves that love? Can we give ourselves the permission to do what we need to do for ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what your download.
That was my life.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. I went into meditation. I mean, I was so weepy and I thought, this is definitely ascension symptoms. I went into meditation and immediately it was like, I get this nudge behind my right shoulder. And they're like, you need to go talk to people. You need to go tell them they just need comfort. They just need comfort. So a lot of people may not know how to give themselves a self-love. They think, oh, well, that's booking a massage. Oh, that's stressful to think about, the money, the time. Mm-hmm. But it was really as simple as go have a cup of tea, go for a hike, go sit somewhere quiet, take a nap, grab your favorite blanket, wrap up in it, because your body, your mind, your soul just needs a hug right now.
I love when you say that.
Oh.
Hey. And we're giving all of you a hug. That was a perfect segue.
It was.
Everyone can feel it because we are definitely one. So I'm hugging you, and so you're hugging me. We're hugging all of us.
Despite what Heather says, we are here for you guys. We are here for the collective too.
We are.
The self-love, once you love yourself, then it's loving everyone.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
It's beautiful.
Well, there we go. On that note.
Yeah. We
until the next time.
Appreciate all the love until the next time. We have our contact information in the show notes. Do please reach out to us if you have any topics that you'd be interested in us discussing. Having fun with. We certainly would appreciate it. And stay tuned for the next episode, where we have no idea what we're going to be talking about, but it's going to be amazing. So you'll definitely want to tune in to it. At some point we will have guests. So we'll be working on that as well.
Yep.
Well, all right, everyone.
Yeah. All right. Well, sending so much love and good energy as much as we can to everyone.
Bye.
Bye.